Hello, everyone. I am so glad that you could join us for today's lesson. It is from John chapter 4, and we'll be talking about the woman at the well. Well, everyone knows Jesus loved to share about God. He talked about forgiveness, heaven, himself, and how we could get to know God. Well, he was talking to people and he needed to get to Galilee. So he and his disciples decided to travel, and they thought maybe we should go through Samaria because it's kind of shorter. But the problem was the Samaritan people and the Jews didn't get along. They weren't friends. But they thought, well, we need to get to Galilee, so let's go. And they traveled, and it was lunchtime. And so, lunchtime, you get hungry. And so everyone was kind of thirsty and tired. So they stopped at a town called Sychar. And the disciples went off to the town to get some lunch while Jesus sat down by a well. And so he thought, well, I am so thirsty. There's this lady that came up, and she had come to get some water. Back then in those days, they had only wells. They didn't have running faucets. They couldn't turn on a shower. So they had to get a bucket, a little bit like this one, only much bigger. And the bucket would go down into this hole in the ground. And then when they brought it back up again, there would be water in it. Well, she came to draw some water for herself. And he knew something was wrong. Jesus knew something was wrong because it was hot, and most of the time the women came to get water early in the morning because water is heavy to carry, and they would carry it in containers like this, only much bigger. And then you've seen the pictures where they put the water buckets on their head and they would walk, only much bigger than this, because they would use it to cook and to clean and to drink. So the woman had come to draw some water, and Jesus said, "Would you get me some water?" And the woman said, "Why are you asking me? I'm a Samaritan, and Samaritans and Jews really are not friends." Jesus said to her, "Well, if you knew who I am, if you knew the gift of God, you know that I would give you living water." And the woman says, "Well, I don't see that you have a bucket or a container. How are you going to get some water?" And Jesus told her, "Well, the water that I am going to give you is very special. If you drink it, you will not get thirsty again." And the woman says, "Well, I'd like some of that." So Jesus said, "Well, let's go get your husband." And she said, "I don't have a husband." And Jesus said, "You're right. You don't have a husband." And they sat and chatted for a long time about how people in the past, a long time ago, would come to that place and they would worship God. And she said, "The Jews say that we're supposed to go to Jerusalem to worship God." And Jesus said, "I'm telling you, you just need to worship God with all of your heart, in spirit and in truth. Worshiping God is not about going to a place. You can worship God right where you are." And Jesus offered the woman the same opportunity. Well, the woman got so excited because she knew that somehow Jesus was going to forgive her of her sins. And even though she had done so many bad things in her past, she had done some terrible things. We don't know them all, but Jesus knew. So she was so excited because all of a sudden, she knew that he was telling her the truth. And so she went to town. She ran into town, so excited to tell other people, "I met this man named Jesus. Come and see him." Well, they came. The end of the story goes like this. The Samaritans came from the town, and that was after the disciples came and said, "What are you doing? Who are you talking to?" Then they saw all the people coming from the town. And the Samaritans got so excited, they asked Jesus to stay. He stayed there for 2 days. And many of them believed what Jesus said, that Jesus is the Savior of the world. You know, this is true for us too. We can have forgiveness of sins and have a relationship with God. So what I would like to do is encourage you when you do have your prayer time to ask God for forgiveness, and He will give you that living water, and you can worship Him right there where you are. All right. Next, we're just going to do a little Bible verse to kind of help us along. So this week's Bible verse is John 3:16. And we put some hand signals in there so that you can make it easier for you to memorize and practice at home. You ready? Okay, it goes like this. For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's John 3:16. Okay, we'll do it one more time, and then we'll finish for today. Ready? For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. Well, I look forward to practicing this with you, and so I'm looking forward to doing more lessons like this with you in the future. So have fun, and I hope you're all doing okay. You're in my prayers. Bye.